Ready?
We are live on YouTube.
Good evening, and thank you for coming to the Finance and Personnel Committee. Today's date is April 7th, 2021. Notice has been duly posted at City Hall. The time is 7:15 p.m. Roll call. We will have Diane Wolf.
Present.
Jim Olson.
Present.
Dan Stevens, myself, I'm also present. We also have with us the city attorney, the finance director, the city administrator, the mayor, city engineer, and joining us on the Ethernet is Alder Tom Smith, Chief Troy Goody, Alder Carrie Burmaster, and city planner Katie Espenson. Item 2, approval of the minutes from the previous meeting.
Motion to approve.
Jim? A second. Motion by Alder Wolf, seconded by Alder Olson to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Minutes are approved. Item 3 is public input. Does anybody wish to address the Finance and Personnel Committee? Second call for public input. Third and final call for public input. And I'm not seeing anybody jumping on, so public input is now closed. Consideration and possible action on the following items. Under item 4, finance, the 2020 Omni Center financials. I don't see Wick with us, so Fred?
I see there is a correction. We'll need to make that to the 2021 financials, and this will be through February 28th. For the Omni Center, on page 2, we have total revenue of $103,024.37. Expenditures of $92,151.87. Keep in mind, any dollars received through room tax revenue will not be coming in until the month of March. There's 2 months of lag.
Okay. Does anybody have any further questions for Fred? Hearing no questions, what is the will of the committee?
I move that we accept the 2021 Omni Center financials as presented and place them on file.
Second.
Motion by Wolf, seconded by Olson to approve and place on file the 2021 Omni Center financials. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The 2021 Omni Center financials are approved. Item 5, the 2021 General Fund financials. Mr. Bueller.
Okay, before you this evening is financials dated 2/28. Keep in mind, we only have 1 month's of bills. The January bills are paid in the month of January, so there's not a whole lot of activity at this point. One item I just wanted to point out is on page 10, that's labeled on the bottom, is 3/4 of the way down the miscellaneous income account. When we had our audit completed here in mid-March, one of the things that's going to be a change is currently the reason what you're seeing there's kind of out of balance is it's costing more expense-wise for the charge card because we're only charging 2% convenience fee, but we have more of an expense on the side of having it. This is internally, that is. And so discussion with the auditors, that'll be moved into an account as an expenditure within the finance department, of which then a proportion would be charged to the water utility, sewer utility, stormwater utility, because people are using, I shouldn't say not water utility, but are using it to pay utility bills of sort. That's going to be one of the main changes. Other than that, I really don't have anything to report.
Fred, if somebody were to pay their, with a charge card, their utility bill, would we be able to charge a convenience fee or anything like that?
We're charging a 2% convenience fee now.
And we're paying 1.8? Well, it would strike me that we shouldn't have a negative balance there.
Well, you
Yes,
see-
Eric.
You see, what's happening is there's revenue coming in, but there's more of an expense going out for the cost of the service. And so what'll happen now is the revenue will stay in the revenue account and the expenditure will be a direct expense within the expenditures.
So the management fees on
Or we
top
were
of,
netting the two together and it's costing more than it is to breaking even.
okay, Eric?
We charge 2% on the transactions, but the merchants' fees for some of those cards, especially the high points cards, the airline miles cards are higher, are 4 to 6%. And so it's that difference is what Fred is talking about, that ultimately you build charge back to us on some of those cards, the net difference.
Now, keep in mind, if people use the UB Insight, in other words, the city's website, of which we talked about this morning, putting a flyer in with the July bills, that is no cost to the customer, and the city picks up any costs. And again, those costs are chargeable back to water and sewer storm directly, but the city is paying those costs. And I can tell you, what we get charged is $360 a month. And then the usage count is also an additional charge on top of that. But it's a very good service for the customer.
I assume the preferred way, the preferred method of payment from the city of Onalaska's point of view would be if they were to mail in a check or pay cash.
Oh, nope, the best way is a UB Insight. And the customer can just go right online, have it taken out of a credit card. The other alternative, as you know, the city sends out envelopes. And if they send out envelopes, that goes to what we call a lockbox. And then we get a file, and that file is also posted directly, very little manpower to distribute that and administer that process as well. And we have a lot of people that use the lockbox. And one of these times I'll just give you statistical numbers, but I think you'd be very surprised. We have a lot of people use those two services pretty highly. We don't really have as many customers like we used to coming in.
All right, is there any other questions for the finance director? What shall we do with the 2021 general fund financials?
I move that we accept the 2021 general fund financials as presented this evening and place them on file.
I will second that. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving and accepting the general fund financials and placing them on file, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. General fund financials for 2021 are approved. Item 6, authorization to approve resolution 26-2021, the City of Onalaska Flexible Benefits Plan Amendment. Amanda's issue?
I'll turn
Yes.
it over turn it over to Amanda.
Yeah, so this is something that was offered out of the American Rescue Plan, that we could increase our flex benefits account to allow an increase in the dependent care account up to, I believe it was 10,500 or 5,500 for married filing separately. And so we went ahead and signed that planned amendment, and we just need a resolution approving that.
Thank you.
I move that we approve resolution 26-2021.
Motion by Wolf, seconded by Olson to approve the resolution 26-2021. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Resolution 26-2021 is approved, which concludes the finance portion. Going on to personnel. Item 7, approval of human resource generalist job description and authorization to fill the position.
Yeah, so there should have been a memo sent out kind of walking through what we're proposing, which is essentially to divide the current payroll specialist / HR specialist position into 2 positions. If you kind of look at that memo, it outlines that the finance department prior to COVID had 2 full-time finance clerks. And then one of those positions was vacated when City Clerk Joanne Marcon became the city clerk, and Stacy Wilk was promoted to deputy clerk from one of those finance positions, creating a vacancy. At that time in the pandemic, it was determined that with the uncertainties related to the budget this year, that would be moved to a part-time position. And so we're looking at increasing that part-time position to a full-time position and changing it to the payroll clerk position. And then in doing that, we would leave the position in human resources as an HR generalist position. So it's kind of outlined in that memo. It's essentially an increase of a half position back to what we were pre-COVID. Sorry, I know that probably is more related to the payroll side, but they kind of go hand in hand. And so the HR generalist position is really going to focus on onboarding, recruitment, and then the benefits administration.
Thank you, Amanda. Diane, you look like you're thinking really hard.
Just reading. Yeah.
Mr. City Administrator, Eric.
Amanda was gracious enough to put the memo together in my absence while I was on spring break. So thank you, Amanda, for all the hard work and getting this complete. The memo does 100% speak to what my long-term plan for reorg would look like in identifying some deficiencies organizationally and where we fix them. This was part of ultimately my long-term plan that got escalated with the vacancy in the position right now.
Madam Mayor.
Felt when I was reviewing this, I was wondering, the purchasing person's job description isn't included here. And I think that currently is not a supervisory position, and yet it's shown as supervising the payroll clerk. So I was just kind of wondering what the plan was for addressing that.
That job description was written pretty broadly, and if you remember, we had increased the grade when we filled that position, and so I don't believe we would necessarily need to do a change to that job description, nor would the grade change.
Thank you for clarifying that.
What is the will of the committee?
I move that we approve the human resource generalist job description and approve the authorization to fill said position.
Motion by Wolf, seconded by Olson, to approve the human resource generalist position as stated for the agenda. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item 7 passes. Item 8, the approval of the payroll clerk job description and authorization to fill the position.
I don't have anything more specific to add as it relates to this, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Same thing, just different position.
Yes.
Madam Mayor.
I have a question here on just looking at the human resource generalist position requires a bachelor's degree and 3 years of experience, and it's a grade 5. And then going to the purchasing clerk, that is also a grade 5, but the education is only an associate's degree. So I'm wondering if that was intentional, or how did you arrive at the grade?
What do you get for your extra 2 years of college?
Eric can better probably outline, but it's kind of a multifaceted criteria that we look at. I believe it's 9 distinct factors that establish grade. But we did feel that it was in line with the accounting clerk position, which came out at a grade 5 as part of the comp plan study. And that our current, I believe, office clerical finance clerk is, Fred, can you correct me, is it a grade 4? And so we felt like this was additional duties as it relates to payroll. And so looking at those factors, it would necessitate a 1-level increase.
And if I may, I can clarify. As Amanda said, that each job is scored on 9 factors, and the degree is one of those factors that scores, but it doesn't automatically boost somebody up above somebody else. Probably the best real-world example I can give would be teachers. For example, you can end up with master's and doctorate degrees, but still be under compensated compared to other people with master's and doctorate degrees in other fields. It also puts it at what I would say, a competitive marketplace, puts at a competitive position within the marketplace, for that similar position as well.
Thank you, Eric.
I move that we approve the payroll clerk job description and approve the authorization to fill said position.
Motion by Wolf, seconded by Olson to approve the payroll clerk job description and authorize to fill the position. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Item 8, the payroll clerk job has been approved. Item 9, approval of accounting clerk job description. And I'm guessing this is the same thing.
This is a bit of office internal cleanup. And so we have an employee, Jackie Peters, who's, and Fred can probably better give you the history, but Jackie, manages the finances for the municipal court and does other similar work. And so she's been doing that, I don't know exactly for how long, but somewhere along the way, Fred had put in a request to Human Resources to have her job description updated, and that had not occurred. And so when we did do the comp plan study last year, we did factor that in. And so we are paying her as an accounting clerk based on those elevated job duties, but her job description was never updated to reflect that. So this is really a cleanup to make sure that she has an accurate job description.
Thank you, Amanda. Alder Wolf.
Thank you. And Amanda, just wanted to confirm, in this, the classification for this particular position, we will be moving from hourly to salaried exempt, correct?
Correct. So it will be moving from hourly to exempt. And the decision was that she has a lot of independent authority, and we reviewed it against the FLSA standards and felt that it met the classification of an exempt employee.
Great, thank you. I move that we approve the accounting clerk job description as presented this evening.
Motion by Wolf, seconded by Olson to approve the accounting clerk job description. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The accounting clerk job description has been approved. Item 10, we'll go into closed session to consider a motion to convene in closed session under section 19.85, parent 1, parent E of the Wisconsin statutes for the purpose of deliberating or negotiating the purchase of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business, whether competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. The Onalaska Professional Police Association, or OPPA, grievance 2021.1. If any action is required in open session as a result of the closed session, the committee will reconvene in open session to take the necessary action and/or continue on with the printed agenda.
Motion to go into closed?
Second.
Motion by Wolf, seconded by Olson to go into closed session. Roll call vote.
Diane, aye.
Stevens, aye. We are now in closed session.
We're still live, so let's, yeah, we're